I am never going to do a free audit again. I ran this experiment that failed in some super unexpected and interesting ways. This video is for you if you've ever considered offering insight for free, even via a discovery call. First, some backstory. So this audit, and the name was definitely part of the problem. We'll get into that. Here's what it was and what I hoped would happen. Since I'm a business coach and I specialize in messaging and positioning, I said, hey guys, I will actually look at your entire digital presence. I will Google you. I will look at your socials, your blogs, your offer, your LinkedIn profile, your bio, all that stuff. And I will help you see the gap between what you think you're saying about what you do and what your prospects actually hear or understand from your offers. You will be amazed at the kinds of things I found where there are disconnections and confusions and people contradict themselves, etc. I would record a custom private Loom video for each participant and give them my insight for free. Now, what I hoped would happen, and I did have a 25% success rate with this, what I hoped would happen was people would upgrade to paying me to working with me and fixing some of the problems that I pointed out. Yay! But here's where things went a little bit in a direction I did not expect. I wrote it down so that I wouldn't forget anything. I ran into 3 unexpected problems. 1, low uptake. I'll explain in a second. 2, lack of investment, and I don't just mean money. And number 3, low conversion. So let's talk about it. Number 1, low uptake. I sent this out to my list where I have, on average, anywhere from a 45% to a 63% open rate on my emails. I was getting a 60+% open rate and yet not getting a lot of bites on this offer. I believe that one of the biggest problems was its name. I called it an audit. That was a mistake. I would do that differently. The second thing that I noticed is that because it was free and because I positioned it as free, I meant it to be an act of generosity. I wanted to do it for free because I got so burnt myself on my health journey where I would pay upfront, trust the process, and then realize halfway through the process that the person just didn't have the skill that I required in order to solve my problem. I wanted to solve that upfront by saying, let me prove to you and show you instead of telling you that I have the goods, because you will see from my analysis whether you want to work with me or not. Unfortunately, what I realized was that by offering this level of depth of insight, I was making 15, 20-minute videos and sending them over to people. There was a giant mismatch between the actual value of the product and how it was being perceived, in other words, for free. And that brings us to number 2, lack of investment. So what I notice is that I don't want to hit you with that stupid cliche that is rampant in the coaching world of people pay attention when they pay money, but it's not untrue. I noticed that there was a lack of participation in the excavation. You can't help somebody heal. You can't help somebody fix a problem that they refuse to acknowledge they even have. And what was happening was because the offer was free, it felt like they were just they were bracing to be exploited. Honestly, if I had to give you my bottom line sense of why the participation was so low, I think everybody was like, well, in today's world with surveillance capitalism and the whole 9, we understand that if the offer is free, the product is us, right? So I think a lot of the people that even raised their hands were bracing, expecting in some way to be exploited. They missed what the overture was all about. I also think that there is a deep vulnerability. I am basically going into their home and going through their underwear drawer and their medicine cabinet and their bookshelf, finding out all the things. I'm finding posts that they made 7 months ago that they've totally forgotten about. I'm noticing all the different mismatches, all of the posts that they put out where they were like, hey, raise your hand if you want this offer. And nobody raised their hands. It is so vulnerable. And I was very, very careful to be compassionate. I was very careful to acknowledge that this is a very difficult thing for somebody to be on the receiving end of, right? I'll tell you a little story here. I once took a lap dance class back when I was a freelance journalist. And one of the most revealing things during that lap dance class was not that it was vulnerable to take your clothes off and do the lap dance. At one point, we had a class where we had to pair off, and then one of us would sit down and the other person would do the dance. And of course, we stayed clothed. I had no idea how much more vulnerable it was to receive the lap dance than it was to give it. And that has always stayed with me. And I feel like this audit is a version of receiving that kind of lap dance. You're like, what do I do with my hands? What do I do? Like, where do I look? What do I do? Because on a sales call, even on a discovery call, people present themselves the way they want to be seen. They can tell me the truths they want to reveal, and I have no way of checking. This way, I'm looking and I'm drawing my own conclusions, and they're not participating in that except from their presence online. That was really vulnerable. And I think that it also, because it was free, they had no incentive to overcome that discomfort. So because it was free, the discomfort really won and the curiosity didn't have a chance to play. That was a real mismatch. So there was a deep energetic mismatch in this particular case. Let's go to number 3, low conversion. I had an intake form, so an application form where I would ask specific questions and people had to answer the questions. And then I would check out the sites that they provided, and I would also Google them and just see like what they have and so on. Poorly filled out forms. Forms where people gave me monosyllabic answers and didn't give me a whole lot to work with, typically were highly correlated with the people who then didn't even acknowledge the freaking audit. Can you believe it? Somebody pours 15 to 20 minutes, does all of this research that actually takes a whole bunch of time, gives you custom advice, gives you feedback on what your presence looks like, and you don't even bother to say thank you. The people who didn't put in the work up front did not also show up at the end. I knew that was going to happen, but I wanted to have actual data and not just my feelings about it. So just so you know, that's a real thing. Another thing that I realized with low conversion was that I think language has really lost its potency. You've probably heard this term, we live in a post-truth world. This is real. Many of the terms we have used have been hijacked by marketers who have exploited our psychology, exploited our vulnerability, exploited our desperation, exploited our desires. And they have used those terms to manipulate us. Now, everybody, I think, online is bracing to be exploited. And so it is so difficult to break through that. There's so much guardedness and armoredness out there. Again, because I positioned it as free, people were expecting to be exploited. They were just like, I don't know. Is she gonna like pitch me? When's the pitch? When's the pitch? And so then they kind of fast forward through all of the good stuff that I'm giving them. And if I invite them to work with me, they're like, yeah, I knew it. She was gonna pitch me. That's just how it is. And it doesn't work, at least not to my satisfaction. So what I felt was I felt exploited in this situation because I came with an open, honest heart, wanting to be generous, wanting to break the mold of the bro that extracts without giving. I wanted to be the person who gave first as a signal to say, this is who I am, and now would you like to play? Or maybe I can't even help you, but here at least this insight can help you change tack or stop doing things that are not working for you, etc. We just have a Pavlovian response now to just guard and armor and be skeptical. And without any investment in the process, I think it is very difficult to overcome that guardedness. So that was kind of my takeaway. Why would them paying even a small amount, like $50, $100, $200, whatever it is, why would that change their level of investment? There will be individuals for whom it might not, because it might be too small or too insignificant an amount. But I would think that if it is a small but significant amount, so not like $5, more like $50 or $100 or $150, now they have to get something back in order to feel good. Otherwise, they basically have to accept that they were exploited and that they did it willingly, right? So now they're like, I'm looking for value. I'm wanting to extract value from this audit. I want to have an insight, as opposed to, maybe I'll have an insight. Maybe. If I feel like it, if I even watch it, right? So it's a very different energy. And I think that that's part of what it is. That's my theory. If you have a different theory, I'd love to hear about it. Let's move on. So what am I going to do about it? Because obviously not doing things, you got to do something. And I'm still trying to find ways that align with my values, that break through the noise, that are innovative, and that will actually work in this deeply saturated, very ugly space that coaching has become. So I am going to charge $50 and I'm going to raise the price every so many audits. I'm going to maybe give it like six of these. I'm going to change the name. Oh my God, I'm definitely going to change the name. Do not call an audit an audit. It just brings up like tax vibes. It's ugly. Do not do that. I missed it. People miss things all the time. Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start by charging $50 every 6 audits. I'm going to jump the price by another $50. So then it'll be 100, then it'll be 150. At some point I will hit some kind of sweet spot. I will have more testimonials, more invested people. This is my theory anyway. This is going to build itself. So I am no longer going to do these audits for free. If you got one for free, you won, but now I'm not going to do that anymore. If you are interested in getting one of these audits, which I am calling the client flow map, because it's a map. Essentially what you end up with as a deliverable is a video that literally walks you through your own customer journey and helps you see where you are leaking, where you're creating confusion, where the language is not really representing what it is you do and what it is you want to get across. What are the real opportunities that you're just sitting on? You have strengths. You're basically trying to be a fish trying to ride a bicycle. I've seen so many of these. Every single audit I did, by the way, had some element of this. People trying to succeed by doing what they've bought in the last group program that they purchased or whatever is like the fish trying to ride a bicycle. They're trying to win at a game that they're inherently not built for. Meanwhile, they've shelved all their strengths, their relational capacity, their network capacity, their ability to do like really magical, innovative things that are not common online and therefore not in some group program. That's what I give you, a client flow map that helps your clients flow through your process in a way that feels really good to you. It's also about designing your marketing to be congruent with who you are, to be able to display your skill at an advanced level, right? You want to be able to not demonstrate that you're a guru or that you have it all figured out, because I think that that is not going to work. AI will outpace you every day. AI will always be more perfect than you, and this just doesn't work and it doesn't feel good anymore. What you want to do is show how, even as a deeply talented, committed practitioner of your craft, things break. And what you do in those moments when they break, that's what you want to do. I give people a lot of ideas around how to do this with their specific work, depending on what it is they do. That's what the client flow map is all about. Find the link in the description and sign up for one. Whatever the price is, whenever you happen to watch this, is the current price, and it will always be the lowest price that I offer it at. Here's my takeaway checklist. Number 1, get clear on your name, the name of whatever it is you're offering, and what the promise is. What do people get out of it? Make that crystal clear. So don't think of it as outcome, think of it as deliverable. I have a client flow map. People get a crystal clear idea of where their gaps are, what to do about it, and what's the biggest opportunity for them with their marketing that actually feels good to them when they're interested in their own marketing. Number 2, value mismatch. Money does change energy, and you don't want to do something that is incredibly high value to the point where it feels too good to be true and then offer that for free. I learned that the hard way. I will not do that again. And number 3, fit. Are you inviting connection in ways to play to your strengths? So the audit process absolutely plays to my strengths. I'm so good at inferring from language. I feel language. I breathe language. Like I have like this whole somatic experience with language. So I can hear things that people didn't actually put in words yet. And I'm like, hey, are you trying to say this? Is this what you're actually doing? Like I have this incredible ability and I can do it through a screen. This is not a problem for me. But for you, if you're somebody that has deep relational presence, that is completely flattened on screens. Like you can never communicate that effectively. You want to make sure that whatever your technique is, whether that's a discovery call or whatever, find a way to make it match the thing that demonstrates how awesome you are at whatever it is you do. Make sure your method or whatever the thing is that you're offering fits your strength. I hope you found this helpful. These are the kinds of conversations and techniques that I talk about in the Clarity Collective. So if you don't have a huge budget for coaching because you kissed a bunch of frogs, I mean, we all have at this point, then this would be a great way to get to know my work, use the principles for yourself to test them, build your own confidence in the methods. And then if you want to work more closely together, I would love that. But if you didn't, it's just $9 a month. So it's really easy to get started. You can find that link in the description as well. If you like videos like this that tell you the truth and show you what it's actually like to run a business online in the business of becoming, where you're selling personal development, then don't forget to subscribe, hit like, and leave me a comment. I'll see you in the next video.